think it did. Remember, if you're just tuning in, you are watching the Full-Time Devils fan phoning on XS Manchester. Today, myself, Adam McCullough, is joined by Webby and Jamie Jackson, the Guardian's Manchester football correspondent. No Joe in the house today, so it may get a little bit wild in here, but I hope you're all doing well. We're now live on YouTube, hence the other reintroduction. Thank you for watching, guys, on YouTube. Thank you if you're tuned in on the radio. Remember, get your calls in as well. We've got another call coming through soon. But before we go to that, Webby, what do you think of Charles' comments?
I can understand. You know what it is, Adam, with social media. You know, I'm just glad it wasn't about in the 70s, you know, be exploding every week. Some of the performances I had to watch as a kid. You know, it was bad. But like going on the match there is what Jamie said there. At 1-0, we had little guilty chances to go 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, put it to bed, and we never. And they scored it, and then we got a panic then, and then we get the sending off. You know, we had enough chances to win 2 games of football there, and we never took it. I think that's our problem. We are not killing teams the way we did it. You can remember games under Ferguson, could be 4, 5, 6. You know, I seen a stat the other day, and it really shocked me that since we last scored 5 in a game, Manchester City have done it 22 times.
Crumbs, really?
The last time we scored 5 in a game was Fergie's last game at West Brom. Manchester City have done it 22 times. You know, so that says it all, you know.
It does, yeah.
And
Charles made the point that there's always excuses for Jose Mourinho. What do you think about that? Do you think, because some of the excuses that are coming out, they were never made for Van Gaal, they were never made for Moyes. The facts are, we're 8 points off in the league. I hate to say who we're 8 points off in the league, but we are 8 points off top spot. We're out of the League Cup, which is a competition is coveted. We've only got the Champions League and the FA Cup to play for, realistically. Why are these excuses being made for him?
I think they're stupid excuses. I said to you before the season started, you either back the manager or you sack him. They didn't back him, so they've got to get rid of him. You know, I personally don't want to get rid of him. That's my personal view, but it is slightly changing now. You know, when they're seeing us, you got to look at it in 72 hours. We've had Wolverhampton Wanderers, no disrespect, and Derby County fans, no disrespect, partying at my club. You know, imagine that under Fergie. We might have got Wolves might have scraped a draw. We would have done Derby 6 or 7.
One thing you said to me after the game is that after the Wolves game, usually under Manchester United, I hate saying that phrase, you'd see a reaction. Yeah. So after a defeat or a draw, you'd see a reaction. We're not seeing a reaction. No, what does that tell you about the dressing room and their support of the manager?
Yeah, I mean, it's what Webby said, I completely agree with. I mean, I was in Bern for the young boys game, and the difference for me, and I actually sort of put this to the manager afterwards, was you took your chances. You know what I mean? You actually did, but that was like kind of a rarity under this manager, this side. I mean, you know, I think it was a paltry amount of goals in the league the first season. I think it was in the 50s, and then 50 odd. Then last year it was only in the 60s. You're looking at City, what was it, 106? You know, you're looking at the next side, and that is a massive difference. I mean, it's interesting. I've started to hear criticisms of Lukaku, and he missed one on Tuesday, wasn't it? Yeah, he missed one.
2.
Okay, but I can remember one, and then there was one against Wolves where I think it was in the second half, the Stretford end anyway, and he hesitated, and the goalkeeper gathered it. I'm like,
all he had to do was throw his body at it.
Exactly, just be decisive.
How weird is it that a player that scored like 10 goals in 12 games for a club and country is lacking confidence?
How good was he in the World? I was looking at him in the World Cup thinking he is flying. You know, look, he's got an extra half yard at pace. He's really taking, he's battering defences in the World Cup, and I thought, yeah, he's going to come back to United and really, really do it. So yeah, the players, I think it's all a little flat. I think he's flat, Mourinho. He's not the manager he was even the second time at Chelsea before the Eva Canero thing, but I think that's what killed him. And the players are just sort of...
The thing is for me, and we're going to go to another caller now, we've got Cam waiting on the line. The thing is for me, I don't even think we've got the Mourinho we had in his first season at Manchester United.
I hear you.
It's really strange. Cam, what are your thoughts, mate?
Cam.
You know, on the training pitch yesterday, can we all agree that Mourinho knew the cameras were watching him?
I've been told that I'm a conspiracy theorist for saying the same thing, to be honest. The way I looked at it was that obviously he didn't phone a cameraman and say, please be at the training pitch, but he knew the camera was there, and I feel he was fishing for a little reaction.
Yeah.
You know what it is? He always tries to take the heat off him, and now he's done that. Did you see Pogba's face? He was like, what's going on here? He's just absolutely shocked, gobsmacked. gobsmacked. Like, we're getting outplayed by championship teams, like, no disrespect to them. Like, before Romario got sent off, they were, like, on top of us. I just want you all to ask you one more question. Like, say tomorrow if you had the choice, if they said Pogba or Mourinho, who are you going with? One's got to leave, one's got to stay.
Ooh, it's a good call, good question. Everyone that listens to me on a regular basis knows my answer, so I'm not going to say it. Webby?
One's got to leave for me, Jose.
Pogba for me, only because they're both paid employees, but Pogba, whatever he thinks about what's going on, he's got to stop sort of saying this stuff publicly, because it's not helping the team. It's about the team. Mourinho is reacting to what Pogba's doing. It's not Mourinho saying something and then he's having to pick up the piece. Apart from obviously yesterday,
is maybe Pogba reacting to what happened last season? You're going to be in the press conference tomorrow.
Yeah.
What's your first question to Jose Mourinho tomorrow?
Well, what I'm interested in is in that Instagram conversation, about the Instagram thing. He thought it was posted after they've lost, so he's thinking his star player, his star midfielder, was laughing at United losing. So how about that? How can a manager?
Does that not show a mad paranoia?
Exactly. I mean, I don't know if I call it paranoia, but I can't get my head around the fact that the manager would think any player of his would want their team to lose. I just find that so it may be something.
I'm Jose Mourinho, Jamie. Thankfully, I'm not. What's your question to me?
Were you aware the cameras might pick up the conversation and the microphones? Because he knows they're there. I looked into it. The broadcasters are allowed to be there once a month. So it wasn't just Sky, it's whoever else. It was like a rights holders thing. And it just happened to be that day. But he knew they were there. So the question is really, was it a misjudgment? Or,
Why not in your office?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. I mean, because
But surely, obviously, what you said before, Adam, obviously, he put the post on, and we know about the phone situation at United. You can send a text and it goes through 4 years later, So, obviously, on that post, you can actually see the players running. No player's going to laugh at the team, but, shouldn't Jose, I just had a little bit of thought, and whoever's actually told him about it, just think of it before you try and... we at the moment, Adam, we've got to be together as a club, everyone. That's from the tea lady to you to Fred the Red. And if everything's having an argument, we're looking like clowns. I do feel sorry for Jose Mourinho in the terms that I can see him feeling really isolated at the moment. He's partridged up in his suite. But Adam, he had a chance to get an house. No. I know that. I'm just saying I can see why he could feel that paranoia, and he's got so much going on around him. He probably doesn't feel the backing really of Ed Woodward properly. He probably feels like some of his players are turning against him, and that could be a difficult position for him to be in. But I kind of feel like he knocked the first domino. Do you know what I mean? And he started that effect all off, and it's a shame. Paul Pogba isn't helping himself. He isn't helping his reputation. But I kind of feel he's speaking for more player than himself at the moment, which is a worrying thing. Is anybody scared that this is history repeating itself with Jose or Pogba? Was Fergie right about Pogba? Or Adam, we all know what he can do as a player. We don't need to question that. We know what he can do as a player. But do all your stuff on the pitch. Don't speak to anybody. You show me what you can do in those 90 minutes on the pitch, because we all know what you can do, son. You can win games on your own. And that's what we've got to see. And then the manager can't have a go at him for anything. His colour of his hair, his boots, his car, what his mum's wearing. Just get on with it, Paul, and show us what you can do. And won't be that far behind City, because we know what he can do.
Can I just throw this in here? Do you remember when Guardiola, I think it was in April, said that he'd been offered Pogba in last January's window? What is going on there? Because you're not telling me... Or I'd be very surprised if Raiola, his agent, is acting without Pogba knowing that he's making contact with City to say, would you like to take him? So that, to me, what is going on there? And that was last season. That's before any of this situation we're talking about now. Okay, there might have been something, but, Guardiola, I was in that press conference and basically Raiola had called him, among other things, a dog. And so he's responding to that. But I was surprised that he aired that, because that sort of thing was going on quite a lot in the background, but they don't often say it on the record in front of us lot. But I was surprised. Yeah, didn't he mention that he offered Mkhitaryan as well? Was it? He offered him a pair, and it shocked me. It was around the time when we had the whole just before the Pogba to away rumours. We had the Jose PSG rumours. We had a lot of rumours circulating at that time, didn't we? And was it not far off the derby? Was it? It was April time. I was looking at it yesterday. Derby, wasn't it? Yeah, on the derby time. Yeah. Stupid, but like you're saying, well, why has he brought this out?
And in our players, you know, something what's kept behind that is it's kept to close quarters. But come out and say it at a press conference was very
Nothing's being
strange.
kept behind closed doors from either party, and that's a shame. It's all being played out in public for everybody to see.
It's horrible
really
as a fan. It's horrible as a fan looking at it, and it's looking, you know.
Yeah, you see, this is what obviously I'm not a fan, so I'm looking at it sort of, and that's why the Moyes thing, it just reminds me of that, because it might be slightly different details, but in terms of the sort of lack of control, the sort of turmoil that became, the sort of, I'm going to say, it was a bit farcical under Moyes, unfortunately. You know, there was just stuff. Do you remember when he got that story in the Lowry with the Everton fan after I think he'd even draw or lost to Everton at home? It was his old club, and you know, there was that story. What's he doing? You know, and that was in the October. And it's what's going on here. These messages getting out. That thing yesterday. If you actually stand back from that and see what occurred, to have that go on in front of cameras, it's not very professional, is it? That it just
and it's
doesn't
so
look
easy
good.
to stop that from going on in front of the cameras. It's so easy. Send a text. Meet me in my office after training.
Get him before he comes out.
Ask John Allen or whatever his name is to tell Paul, yo, you got to see the manager after training. I don't understand. Like, that's why it feels calculated to me.
I'm wondering, I'm wondering what Edward Wood and the Glazers, whatever you want to call it, the hierarchy, the executive, are thinking, looking at that.
What do you think they're thinking?
I wouldn't. Well, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're disappointed in seeing that.
Very disappointed.
In who?
Well, it's Jose who's initiated that one, isn't it? Pogba comes bounding on. It's the start of training. He's happy. He shakes Carrick's hand. He shakes John Allen, the press officer, and then he says something. And you know, at the time, it didn't look great. And then when I was basically told what it was about, I was like, really? About an Instagram post? As you just rightly said, Webby, you could see on it the game going on, couldn't you? Because he tilts the camera at the pitch, and it's still being played. So he only had to look at it himself, the manager, and thought, wait a minute, no, that's not. But also, the mistrust there to actually think one of your players would be laughing at the side you play for and star for, supposedly, losing it, you know, not great.
It's a weird time at Manchester United at the moment. And I've got to say, to me, in my opinion, it feels like Chelsea Part 2. But we'll see what other people have to say. We've got loads waiting to get their calls in. We've got Rob next on the line who wants to speak about Pogba being a brand more than a player. So it seems like he's taking the gaffer's side.
Good evening.
Rob, how you doing, mate?
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm good. Well, that's. I'm not taking anyone's side, actually.
Okay.
I'm very, very frustrated with the pair of them.
Do you think this is Paul Pogba speaking for the rest of the team and maybe a sign that the dressing room isn't backing the manager? Or do you just think this is Pogba's ego against Jose's ego?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think if you had to choose, I'd probably say it's more ego-driven than anything else. I think Pogba, you know, at Juventus, he was kept very much in check. You know, there was some real superstars in that team, and he had two minders in the midfield with him, and he was able to get on with his football. The circus, you know, I know he was very marketable before he joined us, but since he's come to us, the circus that's surrounded him has been mental, you know, and it's gone on to another level. And I do think it's a distraction. And I do think he's perhaps now, particularly with the World Cup win, he's maybe thinking he's something he's not. And I'm not suggesting for 1 second he's not a phenomenal player. Listen, he's won the World Cup. He's got the right to, you know, say whatever he wants on that level. But what he hasn't done is what he did for France and what he's done for Juventus. He hasn't looked like a world beater in a United shirt, not with any consistency. So at the moment, yeah, I think it is a bit of both. I think he probably does speak for elements of the dressing room. But they're employees. You toe the line, you know? That's totally what you have to do. And listen, they are very well rewarded for towing the line, okay? These aren't boys working down the pit. You know, they're earning the kind of money that most of us won't ever see 1% of. You know, suck it up. Show your manager that you're wrong. Show your manager that he's wrong to marginalise you. But don't do it the way it's being done.
Totally agree, Rob.
A pair of idiots.
Totally agree, Rob. Thank you very much. What a call. Before we go to the break, I've got a question for everybody in the comments. And, of course, you can text your answers in or whatever as well. The question is, Luke Shaw made his debut 4 years ago. This week, I think it was today as well. But what we want to know is, who is Manchester United's best left back ever? It goes to Webby, it goes to Jamie, it goes to everyone here and everyone at home. And we'll see you after the break.
Access Manchester. This is the Manchester Football Social. Full-time Devils takeover.
Yeah. The FTD fan phoning is back. We're here on XS Manchester. I am Adam McCullough. We're here live every Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. We're going to be an award-winning show as well, so make sure if you're watching on YouTube, you're clicking the link in the description to vote for us in the Northwest Football Awards. But right now, I am still joined by Webby and, of course, the Guardian's Manchester football correspondent, Jamie Jackson, a.k.a. Jamie Paradise, and you can get his new book, Nighttime Call, as well. I say new, it's been out for a little bit. It's had some great reaction as well. And our producer, Chris, absolutely adores it.
Relates
He's always
to it.
chatting to me about it and all that. He absolutely loves it. So make sure you check that out. Jamie, you're looking forward to the press conference tomorrow? That is going to be, I'm guessing, this is one of your most looked forward to press conferences so far this year.
Well, very well put. I mean, I have to say, this start to the season has been pretty much like that at United.
It's not been exciting, though.
Well, I mean, you know, there was the one where he started 35 minutes early and then only lasted about 2 or 3 minutes, for example. Yeah, I mean, I always look forward to seeing Jose Mourinho, whatever's going on, whether you're winning, losing, drawing, you know, whether it's calm or not, just because he gives such good. He is a sort of soundbite machine. He just can't help but being interested in what he has to say for himself. I'm sure he'll have it all worked out, what he's going to say tomorrow, but of course you have characters like me maybe asking him.
He'll have John Allen standing in front of the crowd apologising profusely. Anyway, before we did go to the break, we had a question for everybody. 4 years ago since Luke Shaw made his debut for Manchester United against West Ham in a 2-1 win, which Tom Thorpe, Tyler Blackett and Paddy McNair and everybody else also played in. Asked, who is Manchester United's best left-back ever? Webby.
We've got a few, haven't we? You know, Evra. But for me, a bloke who never, well, he played 580 odd games. Arthur Albiston, great fullback. You know, played that amount of games for United, you know, and having a few bad players in front of him, that didn't help. But obviously, people will say Irwin, won't they? Because Dennis Irwin was colossal, right hand side, left hand side, you know, 650 grand, what a player he was. But for me, we got to go Dennis Irwin, but Arthur Albiston's not far.
Some people on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, by the way, get your comments in. And if you're not watching on YouTube, you can watch on YouTube. Someone said Butner.
Good night. Butler. Played like a butler.
What about you, Jamie? From a neutral perspective, would you go with Irwin,
it's a little bit,
Albiston?
it's a little bit boring and predictable, but I'd go Irwin just because, you know, the amount he cost from Oldham, I think it was, and just what he did in kind of, you know, the treble side and all the rest of it. I think Evra was a very close second for me. The ones I've seen, I don't go back as far as Webby here, but yeah, it'd have to be Dennis Irwin.
I have to say, I have to agree, Dennis Irwin.
Yeah.
I find it mad and it makes me feel old that some people won't even remember Dennis Irwin playing, but not only was he better defensively than Evra, he was as good going forward. He scored free kicks, he scored penalties. And he didn't have that decline that Paddy Evra had. You know, where it was just a rapid decline. And
I'll always remember that when we got rid of him, he played at Old Trafford for Wolves and Mark Ronaldo out of the game. You know, you'd have to say he wasn't good enough for us. Great player. I seen him on the telly on Saturday putting that penalty away for the Liam Millen match.
Oh yeah, that was a great event, wasn't it?
Raised a lot of money. I was speaking to Maisie, he had a great night.
He always has a great night, no matter where he is, doesn't he?
They raised a lot of money. Fair play to the fans what turned up. 44,000 for the 3 o'clock midweek, you know.
Play.
And a United game was on the same day as
Same
well.
day. Real respect to everyone who turned up, and they raised a lot of money for the great cause.
Well done to the ex-players and everybody involved, and obviously thoughts and best wishes go to the Miller family as well.
Definitely.
Jamie, back to the football and back to the serious stuff. Manchester United are back in action this week. We're at West Ham away. Early kickoff. I dread those early kickoffs, and even more so after this week we've had. But away has been some sort of comfort for United.
Yeah, and also in this sort of cycle under Mourinho, sort of this season anyway, you're probably due to win. I know that's not a very admirable way to kind of, you know, think your side's going to win just because it's, you know, it's your turn. They're attacking with a bit of pace, West Ham, from what I gather. I'm not a massive expert on them, but I don't know, you know, with that defence, that was the thing about the goal which Pogba sort of, when he tried to do the turn and then they went forward. Where was the defence, you know? And I was just a little bit concerned about, you know.
Arnautovic will be looking to cause us some problems.
You saw that Rob was saying before about we've got 6 centre-halves at Old Trafford. 5 are made out of glass. So we've only got that one solid one, which from week to week.
Who is that
changes.
solid one?
Well, at the moment, you've got to look at Smalling, which I thought I'd never say. But for me, Lindelof is not up for it. I'm sorry, but he's not good enough for us to play in the Premiership, I
want to talk about another one of our signings, but before we do that, we're going to go into our fourth caller, Ben. Ben, on line one. You've got something to say about Paul Pogba.
Hi, yeah, can you hear me, guys?
Yep.
Hi, Ben.
Hi.
Perfect. I think this is an inflection point, basically, in the history of our club, I think, and modern football. Are we going to allow agents and players to engineer how our clubs run, undermine our manager, disrespect our fans, our club's history, their teammates, or are we going to have a backbone? I mean, people forget that the Busby Babes, they died playing for this club. Pogba won't even track back when he loses the ball on the halfway line. So where are we giving this guy so much power? He hasn't actually done or shown that much for our club. And to be honest, when he has shown anything in his career, he's been supported by midfields and defences that are impeccable, really, like Pirlo, Marquisio, Arturo Vidal, Varane at the World Cup, Kante, Umtiti. How much leeway does this guy get?
What do you think about that, Webb?
He's right, obviously, but player power, as you know, has grown and grown and grown. The money's grown. The agents have become bigger and stronger. I think he's right what he's saying. Like, when does it stop? Someone's got to put a stop to it. It's going to get stupid. If this doesn't get put a stop to soon, what's going to happen next? Are we going to have like a mini TV series every night of what them two have done at the training ground?
The club are working on a Netflix deal as we speak.
Well, you never know with our club. But no, it's stupid. But we all know player power now has grown. It's got to be stopped.
Am I the only one who thinks Paul Pogba's misunderstood? I think I am, I genuinely think I am.
I think part of it is maybe they've both got a case. They've both got stuff that is fair enough, and then they've also got other sort of things that they've done or they're behaving, which isn't great. But this kind of go back to my point why I sort of picked Jose before, because I think you've always got to kind of go with the manager because of this issue about player power.
Has the manager? This is the thing for me. Everyone's talking about Pogba this week. Pogba didn't play. Everybody's talking about that. No one's talking about the fact we're 8 points off Liverpool, top of the league. We're out of a cup competition. It's only September. Nobody's talking about that. And that's the worrying thing for me. Why is Jose Mourinho not being criticised for the job he's doing? I don't care about Pogba. I don't care about this. I care about Jose Mourinho.
But to be fair,
for me, David Moyes was under more pressure.
But to be fair,
Van Gaal was under more pressure.
Before this week, Jose was getting it quite a lot because of the amount of, let's say, criticism I've been getting for sort of reporting what he's been saying and the results and sort of assessing the team not playing very well. So I think it's all that's happened this week is just
because you've got no respect, Jamie. That's what it is.
Remember that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. A lot of people do think Jose.
So I think I'll be back on tomorrow. I think
Pochettino lost 3 games in a row and he was under pressure too. Yeah,
I mean, part of it is United. You're expected to win whether you like it or not. Mourinho's won 8 titles in four countries. He's expected, so he and your club gets criticised more, and I don't agree with it. I don't think it's right, but you just do because it comes with the territory of being, record champions.
Something that hasn't been spoken about because of this circus. Alexis Sanchez.
Good point.
He's signed for Manchester United.
Yeah.
He's declined since joining. What is going on?
I look at Adam and obviously remember him at Barcelona before he signed for Arsenal and watching some great displays by him on the right hand side of the 4 with obviously Iniesta, Xavi around him. Give him a go over there. For me sometimes I think he's at the beginning I think he was trying too hard, try to impress and do the thing, but you're right. I thought he had a decent game at Watford first half. I thought
was that the one where he set up the goal, or was that
was
Burnley?
Leicester, wasn't it?
Burnley, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I thought he did well at Burnley as well. Atrocious, but not the only one against Wolverhampton Wanderers. When you're thinking, where's that player we bought? But hand on heart, Adam, I can never having a great game against us, apart from one game when he come up against Darmian. Now, I'd look good against Darmian, the only Italian defender who can't defend.
To be fair, at that time, Darmian was being compared to Gary Neville and stuff.
No,
remember that?
Yeah, but he played him on the left, didn't he? He played Darmian left back. And we didn't see him again for 6 months.
No, I know.
But this is really interesting. Can you imagine the difference in your team if Sanchez was playing as we thought he was going to? Because suddenly you'd be getting a heck of a lot of good goals.
Yeah.
Pressure would be off Lukaku, and you'd be winning those games that you say we're not taking chances. I'm not saying it's all his fault, but that's what he's missing for me. Is someone else who can score a hatful of goals. You know,
how many goals has he scored for us? Two.
And that's the frustrating thing for me. The frustrating thing for me is he's not challenged like any other player.
Yeah.
And Jose has a few where he doesn't really challenge him the same. Matic one, Sanchez another, where they'll always be in the team regardless.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating because you can't tell a 21-year-old lad, you've got to play well, you've got to be consistent. And then when he comes in, scores a goal, gets his confidence up, I can't play you next game because you played 90 minutes last game.
Yeah, I know. That Martial you're talking about,
It just doesn't make sense to me.
He looked well. First half,
make sense to me.
First half the other night, the old Martial running at him, making me getting on the edge of my seat. We know what he can do. For me, I'd love to see him play left on Saturday and Sanchez on the right. I'd like to see that, but we know it won't happen.
Rash is back.
Yes.
Bailly, you hear, isn't fancied anymore. What is this story about Bailly not wanting to... we've got to go to a call in a bit, which we will. Actually, let's do that now. Okay. We'll talk about Bailly in a sec. The next call is Justin been waiting the longest? Yeah. Justin.
Hello.
Hi, Justin.
Hi, how you doing, guys? It's just I kind of everything that's going on now. I kind of feared was going to happen when Ferguson was leaving. I mean, obviously we've had Keane go, Ronaldo go, Rooney, Van Nistelrooy, all those greats, even back to when Kanchelskis, when he left. But I wasn't worried because we had trust in the manager, and I knew the manager would be all right. Post Ferguson, it's just been like a country without a government, literally. I mean, the Glaziers, in my opinion, yes, some people hate them because they loan so much money to buy Man United, but my only problem is, because we've been spending still, so it's not been so bad, but my problem is the appointments were poor. I think David Moyes, he's a good manager for Everton. I can't disrespect him there. He was a good manager for Everton, but not Man United, in my opinion. Van Gaal's a dinosaur. He should have never have got the job in the first place either. And Jose Mourinho has got so much baggage. I mean, in my opinion, Chelsea have only got a 10-year football club history, and just looking...
That's a bit long.
Well, yeah, it was since Abramovich, but just looking at the drama he caused at Chelsea, surely you just got to think, let's not touch this geezer, because he's just drama, and this is Man United. I'm no disrespect to any other team, but you've got to behave yourself in a certain way, and he doesn't. I mean, everything that he's done, he should have everything should have been behind closed doors. This whole Pogba Mourinho situation should have been behind closed doors, and but for me, Mourinho's got to go.
Thank you very much for your call, Justin. He says it's like a country losing a government, and when we lost David Gill and Sir Alex Ferguson, there was a big hole left. And for me, he mentioned the Glazers there. I'm not going to defend them like he did in terms of spending money, because if you look at the debt, it's still pretty much the same as it was back then. But it's just a big hole to fill. And when you've got owners that aren't football orientated, when you've got owners, he mentioned Chelsea. At least Chelsea's owners want to win trophies.
Of course he's there. He's at the matches, most of him, when they let him back in. He's
Webb,
there.
I'm not going to be rude. I've got to go to a break.
No problem.
This is the Manchester Football Social Full-Time Devils Takeover.
Yeah. We're back for the final part of what is sure to be another classic show. We're bringing them in every single week here, and make sure you're voting in the Northwest Football Awards for FTD as the fan channel of the year. We're back, myself, Webby, Jamie, Jackson from The Guardian as well, and we're going to go straight into a caller because this is the FTD fan phone and it's about your calls, and Etienne's on the line.
Yeah,
Etienne, put the baby in the... Come on. We got a minute to go here, Etienne. We need you quick.
Okay, let's go quick. Topic of the day, I suppose. Start with that. What can I say? Ego-driven shows. I think Berber put it best when he said it's a measuring contest.
Yeah.
Long and short of it is, I don't think the football's good enough. I think his ego is writing checks. The football's not cashing. And I think it's time for him to go, to be honest with you.
That is a short and sweet call there from Etienne. He's saying Jose's ego can't cash them checks. Just before we went to the break that we went to, we asked on YouTube, there were 16 players that debuted under Jose Mourinho, and we wanted the people at home to name them. They were Mkhitaryan, Zlatan, Bailly, Joel Pereira, Axel Tuanzebe, McTominay, Angel Gomez, Josh Harrop, Demi Mitchell, Lukaku, Matic, Lindelof, Alexis Sanchez, anybody seen him? Fred, Delo and Lee Grant. Those are the players that have made their debuts for Manchester United under Jose Mourinho, all 16 of them. Webby, we've got not long to go left in the show, so let's start looking forward now, not backwards. I know we were speaking about serious things before, but we've got West Ham next, and we really do need a result.
Yeah, and obviously they got a decent yard against Chelsea. They beat Macclesfield at 7-8 last night. Obviously, their confidence is going to be up. You know, United coming to town, they always make it an hard game, but I fully expect us to put a professional performance in and go down there and bring the 3 points back. It's going to be hard, but I expect us to bring the 3 points back. With Man United,
it'd be typical of Manchester United to do that, wouldn't it?
Because it was you win Saturday, you beat Valencia Tuesday, you forget about the Derby County game. You know, so it's a big week for us again. You know, starting at West Ham on Saturday morning.
Have you fully given up on the league title?
No.
You made me feel bad now.
Not yet.
Because I have.
Not
and
yet.
It feels weird because I remember times when it'd be like 12 points gap with 2 games to go, and I'd be like, we can do this. Come on. Jamie, looking forward to West Ham. Obviously, you've got the press conference tomorrow where you're going to show respect, aren't you, Jamie?
I am, as always.
Thank you.
I mean, the other thing that's sort of been forgotten, and it's throwing it forward to West Ham, is there was the Pogba captaincy thing, wasn't there, which was taken off him. The second captaincy, he's called it. Is he going to pick him on Saturday? I mean, I suppose he has to, really.
I was going to mention that before. If he doesn't pick him, where do we go? Does it start again Monday before the Valencia game?
So I think he will pick him, but I could understand if he didn't, given everything that's happened this week. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to beat him. I tell you what, if you lose there, that's not going to be great for the club, for Mourinho, because I do think that up above Woodward are looking at this now and thinking, okay, we don't want another Moyes situation where basically with Moyes, he left it to sack him until you couldn't qualify for Champions League. I don't think they're going to do that again this time. I think they've learned from that.
You don't think that's the remit? Because I still think the club only made financial decisions.
Maybe they do, but I just don't think they're going to leave it to sort of whatever it was last time, 34 games. You imagine if it's all this for the next 30 games, back and forth, this happening, that happening. I just don't see it. So I think I'm not saying he's going to get sacked on Saturday if you lose, but just to calm it all down, you really need a victory.
I think personally, I said it to you, Adam, the other night. If we get beaten, don't put in a performance Saturday. I think he's gone. I really do. And I
can see why you're saying it, yeah.
I don't like saying that, but Adam, we've spoken about it before. We're speaking about there's no excitement there for anybody. Seeing kids there at the ground the other night wanting to leave before half-time. Kids who have probably never been in Old Trafford before, sees a great first goal and then nothing.
Sad times, isn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely sad times. But hopefully, like Manchester United, there's always a bounce back. And we just missed 5-6 years. We're just waiting for it. Where is it? Come on. Oh, God. Can someone just quickly clone Fergie, please? Because I ain't made for this. I remember when my dad said to me at that Swansea game, now you're going to know what it feels like to be a Manchester United fan. We've got one more caller before we go. And, of course, we've got Webby's final words back today as well. But who's on the line? Tim?
Hello, mate. You all right?
Evening, Tim.
Evening.
How are you doing, guys?
Yeah, good, thank you. Tim, you're going to have to be quick with your thoughts, mate. Sorry to rush you.
Definitely. It doesn't want to sound too boring, but I want to talk about the Mourinho-Pogba situation. I think, for me, when I was in the summer transfer window, or not when I was in it, sorry, but when I was watching it, for me, I'm not going to lie to you, I was pretty much writing off this season already because I think we was already thinking about next season. You know, if he's not given the funds for Mourinho this season, I can't see him improving us in January. I think with him and Pogba, normally I would say Pogba's in the wrong here, but I think he's taken too much. Martial's taken too much. Luke Shaw's taken too much. Man United as a whole have taken too much, flack from Jose Mourinho. And he was renowned for someone, defending his team, someone who would always put something in the way to distract the media from having a go at the players. But he seems to be putting those players' names to the media before the media have even jumped on us. Even the Jones and Bailly comments the other day about penalties. Yeah, fair enough, you might not like Jones as a defender, but come on, he's going to take a penalty kick. At the end of the day, you must have faith in the players that you have.
Thank you very much for your call, Tim. Sorry to cut you short.
Tim.
What did you make of his thoughts, Webby? Briefly.
Right. Some of his thoughts were right, but different opinions and different fans look at it different. You know what I mean? I've got my favourites. I've got players who I don't like who shouldn't be at the club. You've got the same. It's all about opinions, mate. But obviously, it starts Saturday now, mate. There's no messing about. Again.
Cheers, Webb. Man, I feel like I'm just on a hamster wheel. Guys, thank you to our amazing guests today. We've, of course, had Webby and we've had Jamie Jackson, a.k.a. Jamie Paradise, back. Check out his book, Nighttime Call. And, of course, my co-hostess with the mostess, apart from a voice today, he's been absolutely amazing. Joe, please don't come back. And, Webby, your final words.
Final thoughts. I'm going to go on it again. Jose and Paul, get tomorrow, get into Carrington, give each other an hug and a kiss. Let's get down to West Ham, get 3 points. And if you don't want to do that, pair if you get out of my club. Simple. We're the greatest club in the world and we don't need this soap opera. Good night.
That's Full Time Devils.
Excess